Good morning everyone, and welcome to the 8th video in my stay-at-home series on Kung Fu training. Today we are going to move in a slightly different direction per request from one of my students. He asked that we take a closer look at the BaGua Linear 64 form. For those of you who don't know that form, don't worry. What we'll be doing today is taking a look at the first line of 8 movements and then practicing each of those 8 movements repetitiously for about 2 minutes each, to try to get some familiarity with just the basic concepts and mechanics of that move. As always, Andy Weir's Martian is playing in the background. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in appropriate sections and be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you all so much.
Having a tough time with it. I was really careful. I labeled every piece as I dismantled it and laid everything out on a table. I had the schematics in the computer, so nothing was a surprise.
ShuiJiao hip opening.
And just as I'd suspected, there was a clogged tube. The water reclaimer was designed to purify urine and strain humidity out of the air. You exhale almost as much water as you piss. I've mixed my water with soil, making it mineral water. The minerals built up in the water reclaimer. I cleaned out the tubing and put it all back together. It completely solved the problem. I'll have to do it again someday, but not for 100 souls or so. No big deal. I told NASA what I did. Our paraphrased conversation was, me. I took it apart, found the problem, and fixed it. NASA. Dick. AL-102 shuddered in the brutal storm. Withstanding forces far greater than it was designed for, it rippled violently against the airlock seal strip. Other sections of canvas undulated along their seal strips together, acting as a single sheet. But AL-102 had no such luxury. The airlock barely moved, leaving AL-102 to take the full force of the tempest. The layers of plastic, constantly bending, heated the resin from pure friction. The new, more yielding environment allowed the carbon fibers to separate. AL-102 stretched. Not much, only 4 millimeters. But the carbon fibers, usually 500 microns apart, now had a gap 8 times that width in their midst. After the storm abated, the lone remaining astronaut performed a full inspection of the hab, but he didn't notice anything amiss. The weak part of canvas was concealed by a seal strip. Designed for a mission of 31 souls, AL-102 continued well past its planned expiration. Soul after soul went by, with the lone astronaut traveling in and out of the hab almost daily. Airlock 1 was closest to the rover charging station, so the astronaut preferred it to the other 2. When pressurized, the airlock expanded slightly. When depressurized, it shrunk. Every time the astronaut used the airlock, the strain on AL-102 relaxed, then tightened anew. Pulling, stressing, weakening, stretching. Log entry, Soul 119. I woke up last night to the hab shaking. The medium-grade sandstorm ended as suddenly as it began. It was only a Category 3 storm with 50 kilometers per hour winds. Nothing to worry about. Still, it's a bit disconcerting to hear howling winds when you're used to utter silence. I'm worried about Pathfinder. If the sandstorm damaged it, I'll have lost my connection to NASA. Logically, I shouldn't worry. The thing's been on the surface for decades. A little gale won't do any harm. When I head outside, I'll confirm Pathfinder's still functional before moving on to the sweaty, annoying work of the day. Yes, with each sandstorm comes the inevitable cleaning of the solar cells, a time-honored tradition among hardy Martians such as myself. It reminds me of growing up in Chicago and having to shovel snow. I'll give my dad credit. He never claimed it was to build character or teach me the value of hard work. Snowblowers are expensive, he used to say. You're free. Once I tried to appeal to my mom. Don't be such a wuss, she suggested. In other news, it's 7 souls till the harvest, and I still haven't prepared. For starters, I need to make a hoe. Also, I need to make an outdoor shed for the potatoes. I can't just pile them up outside. The next major storm would cause the Great Martian Potato Migration. Anyway, all that will have to wait. I've got a full day today. After cleaning the solar cells, I have to check the whole solar array to make sure the storm didn't hurt it. Then I'll need to do the same for the rover. I better get started. Airlock 1 slowly depressurized to 0.006 atmospheres. Watney, wearing an EVA suit, stood inside it waiting for the cycle to complete. He had done it literally hundreds of times. Any apprehension he may have had on Sol 1 was long gone. Now it was merely a boring chore before exiting to the surface. As the depressurization continued, the HAB's atmosphere compressed the airlock, and AL-102 stretched for the last time. On Sol 119, the HAB breached. The initial tear was less than 1 millimeter. The perpendicular carbon fibers should have prevented the rip from growing, but countless abuses had stretched the vertical fibers apart and weakened the horizontal ones beyond use. The full force of the HAB's atmosphere rushed through the breach. Within a tenth of a second, the rip was a meter long, running parallel to the seal strip. It propagated all the way around until it met its starting point. The airlock was no longer attached to the HAB. The unopposed pressure launched the airlock like a cannonball as the HAB's atmosphere explosively escaped through the breach. Inside, the surprised Watney slammed against the airlock's back door with the force of the expulsion. The airlock flew 40 meters before hitting the ground. Watney, barely recovered from the earlier shock, now endured another as he hit the front door face first. His faceplate took the brunt of the blow, the safety glass shattering into hundreds of small cubes. His head slammed against the inside of the helmet, knocking him senseless. The airlock tumbled across the surface for a further 15 meters. The heavy padding of Watney's suit saved him from many broken bones. He tried to make sense of the situation, but he was barely conscious.
Left hip.
Finally done tumbling, the airlock rested on its side amid a cloud of dust. Watney, on his back, stared blankly upward through the hole in his shattered faceplate. A gash in his forehead trickled blood down his face. Regaining some of his wits, he got his bearings. Turning his head to the side, he looked through the back door's window. The collapsed HAB rippled in the distance, a junkyard of debris strewn across the landscape in front of it. Then a hissing sound reached his ears. Listening carefully, he realized it was not coming from his suit. Somewhere in the phone booth-sized airlock, a small breach was letting air escape. He listened intently to the hiss. Then he touched his broken faceplate. Then he looked out the window again. "You fucking kidding me?" he said. Chapter 14.
Figure 8.
Audio log transcript. Sol 119. You know what? Fuck this. Fuck this airlock, fuck that HAB, and fuck this whole planet. Seriously, this is it. I've had it. I've got a few minutes before I run out of air, and I'll be damned if I spend them playing Mars' little game. I'm so goddamn sick of it I could puke. All I have to do is sit here. The air will leak out, and I'll die. I'll be done. No more getting my hopes up, no more self-delusion, and no more problem solving. I've fucking had it. Audio log transcript. Sol 119. 2. Sigh. Okay. I've had my tantrum, and now I have to figure out how to stay alive. Again. Okay, let's see what I can do here. I'm in the airlock. I can see the HAB out the window. It's a good 50 meters away. Normally, the airlock is attached to the HAB, so that's a problem.
Right hip, internal
The
rotation.
airlock's on its side, and I can hear a steady hiss. So either it's leaking or there are snakes in here. Either way, I'm in trouble. Also, during the... whatever the fuck happened, I got bounced around like a pinball and smashed my faceplate. Air is notoriously uncooperative when it comes to giant gaping holes in your EVA suit. Looks like the HAB is completely deflated and collapsed. So even if I had a functional EVA suit to leave the airlock with, I wouldn't have anywhere to go. So that sucks. I gotta think for a minute. And I have to get out of this EVA suit. It's bulky, and the airlock is cramped. Besides, it's not like it's doing me any good. Audio log transcript. Sol 119. 3. Things aren't as bad as they seem. I'm still fucked, mind you, just not as deeply. Not sure what happened to the HAB, but the rover's probably fine. It's not ideal, but at least it's not a leaky phone booth. I have a patch kit on my EVA suit, of course. The same kind that saved my life back on Sol 6.
Left hip,
But don't get
external
excited.
rotation,
It won't do the suit any
rotation.
good. The patch kit is a cone-shaped valve with super sticky resin on the wide end. It's just too small to deal with a hole larger than 8 centimeters. And really, if you have a 9-centimeter hole, you're going to be dead way before you can whip out the kit. Still, it's an asset, and maybe I can use it to stop the airlock leak. And that's my top priority right now. It's a small leak. With the faceplate gone, the EVA suit is effectively managing the whole airlock. It's been adding air to make up for the missing pressure, but it'll run out eventually. I need to find the leak. I think it's near my feet, judging by the sound. Now that I'm out of the suit, I can turn around and get a look. I don't see anything. I can hear it, but it's down here somewhere, but I don't know where. I can only think of one way to find it. Start a fire. Yeah, I know. A lot of my ideas involve setting something on fire. And yes, deliberately starting a fire in a tiny enclosed space is usually a terrible idea. But I need the smoke. Just a little wisp of it. As usual, I'm working with stuff that was deliberately designed not to burn. But no amount of careful design by NASA can get around a determined arsonist with a tank of pure oxygen. Unfortunately, the EVA suit is made entirely of non-flammable materials. So is the airlock. My clothes are fireproof as well, even the thread. I was originally planning to check the solar array, doing repairs as needed after last night's storm, so I have my toolbox with me. But looking through it, I see it's all metal or non-flammable plastic. I just realized I do have something flammable. My own hair. It'll have to do. There's a sharp knife in the toolkit. I'll shave some arm hairs off into a little pile.
Nice high horse stance.
Next step, oxygen.
Press.
I don't have anything so refined as
Special
pure oxygen flow.
tendons.
All I can do is muck with the EVA suit controls to increase oxygen percentage in the whole airlock. I figure bumping it to 40% will do. All I need now is a spark. The EVA suit has electronics, but it runs on very low voltage. I don't think I could get an arc with it. Besides, I don't want to mess with the suit. I need it working to get from the airlock to the rover. The airlock itself has electronics, but it ran on HAB power. I guess NASA never considered what would happen if it was launched 50 meters. Lazy bums. Plastic might not burn, but anyone who's played with a balloon knows it's great at building up static charge. Once I do that, I should be able to make a spark just by touching a metal tool. Fun fact, this is exactly how the Apollo 1 crew died. Wish me luck. Audio log transcript. Sol 119. 4.
Stretching all the joints.
I'm in a box full of burning hair smell. It's not a good smell. On my first try, the fire lit, but the smoke just drifted randomly around. My own breathing was screwing it up, so I held my breath and tried again. My second try, the EVA suit threw everything off. There's a gentle flow of air coming out of the faceplate as the suit constantly replaces the missing air, so I shut the suit down, held my breath, and tried again. I had to be quick. The pressure was dropping. My third try, the quick arm movements I used to set the fire messed everything up. Just moving around makes enough turbulence to send the smoke everywhere. The fourth time, I kept the suit turned off, held my breath, and when the time came to light the fire, I did it very slowly. Then I watched as the little wisp of smoke drifted toward the floor of the airlock, disappearing through a hairline fracture. I have you now, little leak. I gasped for air and turned the EVA.
Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate the first line of the Linear 64, and then I'll break it down into little bitty pieces.
Suit back on. The pressure had dropped to 0.9 atmospheres during my little experiment, but there was plenty of oxygen in the air for me and my hair fire to breathe. The suit quickly got things back to normal. Looking at the fracture, I see that it's pretty tiny. It would be a cinch to seal it with the suit's patch kit, but now that I think about it, that's a bad idea. I'll need to do some kind of repair to the faceplate. I don't know how just yet, but the patch kit and its pressure-resistant resin are probably really important, and I can't do it bit by bit either. Once I break the seal on the patch kit, the binary components of the resin mix, and I have 60 seconds before it hardens. I can't just take a little to fix the airlock. Given time, I might be able to come up with a plan for the faceplate. Then I could take a few seconds during that plan to scrape resin over the airlock fracture. But I don't have time. I'm down to 40% of my N2 tank. I need to seal that fracture now, and I need to do it without using the patch kit.
Crossbody.
First idea, little Dutch boy. I'm licking my palm and placing it over the crack. Okay, I can't quite make a perfect seal, so there's airflow. Getting colder now. Getting pretty uncomfortable. Okay, fuck this. On to idea number 2. Tape. I have duct tape in my toolbox. Let's slap some on and see if it slows the flow. I wonder how long it will last before the pressure rips it. Putting it on now. There we go. Still holding. Let me check the suit. Readouts say the pressure is stable. Looks like the duct tape made a good seal. Let's see if it holds. Audio log transcript. Sol 119. 5. It's been 15 minutes and the tape is still holding. Looks like that problem is solved. Sort of anticlimactic, really. I was already working out how to cover the breach with ice. I have 2 liters of water in the EVA suit's hamster feeder. I could have shut off the suit's heating systems and let the airlock cool to freezing. Then well, whatever. Could have done it with ice, I'm just saying. Alright, on to my next problem. How do I fix the EVA suit? Duct tape might seal a hairline crack, but it can't hold an atmosphere of pressure against the sides of my broken faceplate. The patch kit is too small, but still useful. I can spread the resin around the edge of where the faceplate was, then stick something on to cover the hole. Problem is, what do I use to cover the hole? Something that can stand up to a lot of pressure. Looking around, the only thing I see that can hold an atmosphere is the EVA suit itself. There's plenty of material to work with, and I can even cut it. Remember when I was cutting hab canvas into strips? Those same shears are right here in my toolkit.
Sloppy, but we got it.
Cutting a chunk out of my EVA suit leaves it with another hole, but a hole I can control the shape and location of. Yeah, I think I see a solution here. I'm going to cut off my arm. Well, no, not my arm. The EVA suit's arm. I'll cut right below the left elbow. Then I can cut along its length, turning it into a rectangle. It'll be big enough to seal the faceplate, and it'll be held in place by the resin. Material designed to withstand atmospheric pressure? Check. Resin designed to seal a breach against that pressure? Check. And what about the gaping hole on the stumpy arm? Unlike my faceplate, the suit's material is flexible. I'll press it together and seal it with resin. I'll have to press my left arm against my side while I'm in the suit, but there'll be room. I'll be spreading the resin pretty thin, but it's literally the strongest adhesive known to man. And it doesn't have to be a perfect seal. It just has to last long enough for me to get to safety. And where will that safety be? Not a damn clue. Anyway, one problem at a time. Right now, I'm fixing the EVA suit. Audio log transcript. Sol 119. 6. Cutting the arm off the suit was easy, so was cutting along its length to make a rectangle. Those shears are strong as hell. Cleaning the glass off the faceplate took longer than I'd expected. It's unlikely it would puncture EVA suit material, but I'm not taking any chances. Besides, I don't want glass in my face when I'm wearing it. Then came the tricky part. Once I broke the seal on the patch kit, I had 60 seconds before the resin set. I scooped it off the patch kit with my fingers and quickly spread it around the rim of the faceplate. Then I took what was left and sealed the armhole. I pressed the rectangle of suit material onto the helmets with both hands while using my knee to keep pressure on the arm's seam. I held on until I'd counted 120 seconds, just to be sure. It seemed to work well. The seal looked strong and the resin was rock hard. I did, however, glue my hand to the helmet. Stop laughing. In retrospect, using my fingers to spread the resin wasn't the best plan. Fortunately, my left hand was still free. After some grunting and a lot of profanities, I was able to reach the toolbox. Once I got a screwdriver, I chiseled myself free, feeling really stupid the whole time. It was a delicate process because I didn't want to flay the skin off my fingers. I had to get the screwdriver between the helmet and the resin. I freed my hand and didn't draw blood, so I call that a win. Though I'll have hardened resin on my fingers for days, just like a kid who played with crazy glue. Using the arm computer, I had the suit overpressurized to 1.2 atmospheres. The faceplate patch bowed outward, but otherwise held firm. The arm filled in, threatening to tear the new seam, but stayed in one piece. Then I watched the readouts to see how airtight things were. Answer: Not very. It absolutely pissed the air out. In 60 seconds, it leaked so much it pressurized the whole airlock to 1.2 atmospheres. The suit is designed for 8 hours of use. That works out to 250 milliliters of liquid oxygen. Just to be safe, the suit has a full liter of O2 capacity, but that's only half the story. The rest of the air is nitrogen. It's just there to add pressure. When the suit leaks, that's what it backfills with. The suit has 2 liters of liquid N2 storage. Let's call the volume of the airlock 2 cubic meters. The inflated EVA suit probably takes up half of it, so it took 5 minutes to add 0.2 atmospheres to 1 cubic meter. That's 285 grams of air. Trust me on the math. The air in the tanks is around 1 gram per cubic centimeter, meaning I just lost 285 milliliters. The 3 tanks combined had 3,000 milliliters to start with. A lot of that was used to maintain pressure while the airlock was leaking. Also, my breathing turned some oxygen into carbon dioxide, which was captured by the suit's CO2 filters. Checking the readouts, I see that I have 410 milliliters of oxygen, 738 milliliters of nitrogen. Together, they make almost 1,150 milliliters to work with. That, divided by 285 milliliters lost per minute. Once I'm out of the airlock, this EVA suit will only last 4 minutes. Fuck. Audio log transcript, Sol 119, 7. Okay, I've been thinking some more. What good is going to the rover? I'd just be trapped there instead. The extra room would be nice, but I'd still die eventually. No water reclaimer, no oxygenator, no food. Take your pick. All of those problems are fatal. I need to fix the hab. I know what to do. We practiced it in training, but it'll take a long time. I'll have to scrounge around in the now collapsed canvas to get the spare material for patching. Then I have to find the breach and seal strip a patch in place. But it'll take hours to repair, and my EVA suit is useless. I'll need another suit. Martinez's used to be in the rover. I hauled it all the way to the Pathfinder site and back just in case I needed a spare. But when I returned, I put it back in the hab. Damn it. Alright, so I'll need to get another suit before going to the rover. Which one? Johansson's is too small for me. Tiny little gal, our Johansson. Lewis's is full of water. Actually, by now it's full of slowly sublimating ice. The mangled, glued-together suit I have with me is my original one. That leaves just Martinez, Vogel, and Bex.
3.
I left Martinez's near my bunk in case I needed a suit in a hurry. Of course, after that sudden decompression, it could be anywhere. Still, it's a place to start. Next problem. I'm like 50 meters from the hab. Running in 0.4 G while wearing a bulky EVA suit isn't easy. At best, I can trundle 2 meters per second. That's a precious 25 seconds, almost an eighth of my 4 minutes. I've got to bring that down. But how? Audio log transcript, Sol 119, 8. I'll roll the damn airlock. It's basically a phone booth on its side. I did some experiments. I figured if I want it to roll, I'll need to hit the wall as hard as possible, and I have to be in the air at the time. I can't press against some other part of the airlock. The forces would cancel each other out, and it wouldn't move at all. First, I tried launching myself off one wall and slamming into the other. The airlock slid a little, but that's it. Next, I tried doing a super push-up to get airborne. 0.4 G, yay! Then kicking the wall with both feet. Again, it just slid. The third time, I got it right. The trick was to plant both my feet on the ground near the wall, then launch myself to the top of the opposite wall and hit with my back. When I tried that just now, it gave me enough force and leverage to tip the airlock and roll it one face toward the hab. The airlock is 1 meter wide, so... sigh. I have to do it like 50 more times. I'm gonna have a hell of a backache after this. Audio log transcript. Sol 120. I have a hell of a backache. The subtle and refined hurl my body at the wall technique had some flaws. It worked only 1 out of every 10 tries, and it hurt a lot. I had to take breaks, stretch out, and generally convince myself to body slam the wall again and again. It took all damn night, but I made it.
2.
I'm 10 meters from the hab now. I can't get any closer because the debris from the decompression is all over the place. This isn't an all-terrain airlock. I can't roll over that shit. It was morning when the hab popped. Now it's morning again. I've been in this damn box for an entire day, but I'm leaving soon. I'm in the EVA suit now and ready to roll. All right. Okay. Once more through the plan. Use the manual valves to equalize the airlock. Get out and hurry to the hab. Wander around under the collapsed canvas. Find Martinez's suit, or Vogel's if I run into it first. Get to the rover, then I'm safe. If I run out of time before finding a suit, I'll just run to the rover. I'll be in trouble, but I'll have time to think and materials to work with. Deep breath. Here we go. Log entry. Sol 120. I'm alive and I'm in the rover. Things didn't go exactly as planned, but I'm not dead, so it's a win. Equalizing the airlock went fine. I was out on the surface within 30 seconds, skipping toward the hab, the fastest way to move in this gravity. I passed through the field of debris. The rupture had really sent things flying, myself included. It was hard to see. My faceplate was covered by the makeshift patch. Fortunately, my arm had a camera. NASA discovered that turning your whole EVA-suited body to look at something was a strenuous waste of time, so they mounted a small camera on the right arm. The feed is projected on the inner faceplate. This allows us to look at things just by pointing at them. The faceplate patch wasn't exactly smooth or reflective, so I had to look at a rippled, messed up version of the camera feed. Still, it was enough to see what was going on. I beelined for where the airlock used to be. I knew there had to be a pretty big hole there, so I'd be able to get in. I found it easily. And boy, is it a nasty rip. It's going to be a pain in the ass to fix it. That's when the flaws in my plan started to reveal themselves. I only had one arm to work with. My left arm was pinned against my body, while the stumpy arm of the suit bounced freely. So as I moved around under the canvas, I had to use my one good arm to hold the canvas up. It slowed me down. From what I could see, the interior of the hab is chaos. Everything's moved. Entire tables and bunks are meters away from where they started. Lighter objects are wildly jumbled, many of them out on the surface. Everything's covered in soil and mangled potato plants. Trudging onward, I got to where I'd left Martinez's suit. To my shock, it was still there. Yay, I naively thought, problem solved. Unfortunately, the suit was pinned under a table, which was held down by the collapsed canvas. If I'd had both arms, I could have pulled it free, but with only one, I just couldn't do it. Running low on time, I detached the helmet. Setting it aside, I reached past the table to get Martinez's patch kit. I found it with the help of the arm camera. I dropped it in the helmet and hauled ass out of there. I barely made it to the rover in time. My ears were popping from pressure loss, just as the rover's airlock filled with wonderful one-atmosphere air. Crawling in, I collapsed and panted for a moment. So I'm back in the rover, just like I was on the Great Pathfinder Recovery Expedition. At least this time it smells a little better. NASA's probably pretty worried about me by now. They probably saw the airlock move back to the hab, so they know I'm alive, but they'll want status. And as it happens, it's the rover that communicates with Pathfinder. I tried to send a message, but Pathfinder isn't responding. That's not a big surprise. It's powered directly from the hab, and the hab is offline. During my brief, panicked scramble outside, I saw that Pathfinder was right where I left it, and the debris didn't reach that far out. It should be fine once I get it some power. As for my current situation, the big gain is the helmet. They're interchangeable, so I can replace my broken-ass one with Martinez's. The stumpy arm is still an issue, but the faceplate was the main source of leaks. And with the fresh patch kit, I can seal the arm with more resin. But that can wait. I've been awake for over 24 hours. I'm not in any immediate danger, so I'm going to sleep. Log entry. Sol 121. Got a good night's sleep and made real progress today. First thing I did was reseal the arm. Last time I had to spread the resin pretty thin. I'd used most of it for the faceplate patch, but this time I had a whole patch kit just for the arm. I got a perfect seal. I still only had a one-armed suit, but at least it didn't leak. I'd lost most of my air yesterday, but I had a half hour of oxygen left. Like I said earlier, a human body doesn't need much oxygen. Maintaining pressure was the problem. With that much time, I was able to take advantage of the rover's EVA tank refill, something I couldn't do with the leaky suit. The tank refill is an emergency measure. The expected use of the rover is to start with full EVA suits and come back with air to spare. It wasn't designed for long trips or even overnighters, but just in case of emergency, it has refill hoses mounted on the exterior. Inside space was limited already, and NASA concluded that most air-related emergencies would be outdoors. But refilling is slow, slower than my suit was leaking, so it wasn't any use to me until I swapped helmets.
Okay, so once
Now,
you're in full
with
form,
a solid suit capable of holding pressure, refilling the tanks was a breeze. After refilling and making sure the suit was still not leaking, I had a few immediate tasks to take care of. Much as I trust my handiwork, I wanted a two-armed suit. I ventured back into the hab. This time, not being rushed, I was able to use a pole to leverage the table off Martian.
so first time doing that. Not the prettiest thing ever, but we made it through. Yeah. On to the next.
Martinez's suit. Pulling it loose, I dragged it back to the rover. After a thorough diagnostic to be sure, I finally had a fully functional EVA suit. It took me 2 trips to get it, but I got
Relax.
it. Tomorrow, I'll fix the hab. Log entry. Sol 122. The first thing I did today was line up rocks near the rover to spell A-OK. That should make NASA happy. I went into the hab again to assess damage.
Adding in
My
extreme
priority will
complication.
be to get the structure intact and holding pressure. From there, I can work on fixing stuff that broke. The hab is normally a dome, with flexible support poles maintaining the arch and rigid folding floor material to keep its base flat. The internal pressure was a vital part of its support. Without it, the whole thing collapsed. I inspected the poles, and none of them had broken. They're just lying flat, is all. I'll have to recouple a few of them, but that'll be easy. The hole where Airlock 1 used to be is huge, but surmountable. I have seal strips and spare canvas. It'll be a lot of work, but I can get the hab together again. Once I do, I'll re-establish power and get Pathfinder back online. From there, NASA can tell me how to fix anything I can't figure out on my own. I'm not worried about any of that. I have a much bigger problem. The farm is dead. With the complete loss of pressure, most of the water boiled off. Also, the temperature is well below freezing. Not even the bacteria in the soil can survive a catastrophe like that. Some of the crops were in pop tents off the hab, but they're dead too. I had them connected directly to the hab via hoses to maintain air supply and temperature. When the hab blew, the pop tents depressurized as well. Even if they had it, the freezing cold would have killed the crops. Potatoes are now extinct on Mars. So is the soil bacteria. I'll never grow another plant so long as I'm here. We had it all planned out. My farm would give me food till Sol 900. A supply probe would get here on Sol 856, way before I ran out. With the farm dead, that plan is history. The ration packs won't have been affected by the explosion, and the potatoes I've already grown may be dead, but they're still food. I was just about to harvest, so it was a good time for this to happen, I guess. The rations will last me till Sol 400. I can't say for sure how long the potatoes will last until I see how many I got, but I can estimate. I had 400 plants, probably averaging 5 potatoes each, 2,000 taters. At 150 calories each, I'll need to eat 10 per soul to survive. That means they'll last me 200 souls. Grand total, I have enough food to last till Sol 600. By Sol 856, I'll be long dead. Chapter 15. 0800 hours, 12 minutes. Watney. Test. 0800 hours, 25 minutes. JPL. Received. You gave us quite a scare there. Thanks for the A-OK message. Our analysis of satellite imagery shows a complete detachment of Airlock 1. Is that correct? What's your status? 0800 hours, 39 minutes. Watney. If by detachment you mean shot me out like a cannon, then yeah. Minor cut on my forehead. Had some issues with my EVA suit. I'll explain later. I patched up the hab and repressurized it. Main air tanks were intact. I just got power back online. The farm is dead. I've recovered as many potatoes as I could and stored them outside. I count 1,841. That will last me 184 days. Including the remaining mission rations, I'll start starving on Sol 584. 0800 hours, 52 minutes. JPL. Yeah, we figured. We're working on solutions to the food issue. What's the status of the hab systems? 0900 hours, 5 minutes. Watney. Primary air and water tanks were unharmed. The rover, solar array, and Pathfinder were out of the blast range. I'll run diagnostics on the hab's systems while I wait for your next reply. By the way, who am I talking to? 0900 hours, 18 minutes. JPL. Venkat Kapoor in Houston. Pasadena relays my messages. I'm going to handle all direct communication with you from now on. Check the oxygenator and water reclaimer first. They're the most important. 0900 hours, 31 minutes. Watney. Duh. Oxygenator functioning perfectly. Water reclaimer is completely offline. Best guess is water froze up inside and burst some tubing. I'm sure I can fix it. The hab's main computer is also functioning without any problems. Any idea what caused the hab to blow up? 0900 hours, 44 minutes. JPL. Best guess is fatigue on the canvas near Airlock 1. The pressurization cycle stressed it until it failed. From now on, alternate Airlock 2 and 3 for all EVAs. Also, we'll be getting you a checklist and procedures for a full canvas exam. 0900 hours, 57 minutes. Watney. Yay, I get to stare at a wall for several hours. Let me know if you come up with a way for me to not starve. 1000 hours, 11 minutes. JPL. Will do. It's Sol 122, Bruce said. We have until Sol 584 to get a probe to Mars. That's 462 sols, which is 475 days. The assembled department heads of JPL furrowed their brows and rubbed their eyes. He stood from his chair. The positions of Earth and Mars aren't ideal. The trip will take 414 days. Mounting the probe to the booster and dealing with the inspections will take 13 days.
All right, that's that for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have requests, comments, anything like that, please post in the appropriate areas. And yeah, we'll continue tomorrow. Stay safe, everyone.